Hi and welcome back. We are moving on to the distributive property. We're kind of taking a step to the side of solving equations, because if we're not 100% familiar with this concept, the next step of solving equations will be a little more difficult than it should be. So, distributive property. So one of the things we're going to talk about is distributing values. So we're going to be working with expressions. Okay, we talked about expressions a few videos back. An expression, it is an equation without an equal sign. So we're not solving anything on these. We're not trying to find out what x equals. We're not trying to do any of that there. We're just working on distributing. Okay, it's not going to be a difficult lesson, so it kind of almost kind of like a break as you do the work, as long as you understand how to do this. Now, what we're doing is problems like this. Okay, we're taking the 4. Now remember, when we talked about, let's say something like this means multiplication, 4 times 3. Well, this is no different. It's 4 times x plus 3. So we need to multiply the 4 by the x and by the 3. Now keep in mind the signs in front are important in this one, and you'll see as we move on to other examples. So the way that I like to kind of show my work and show things is when we distribute, I like to kind of draw little lines here. So we're going to take the 4 and we're multiplying, okay? There's a multiplication. 4 times x, 4 times 3. What this becomes, it's 4 times x plus 4 times 3. Well, 4 times x is just 4x. And we're going to put plus 4 times 3, which is 12. That is all we're doing. We are just multiplying it. So what I need on your shown work for this, okay? I know it's more work or more steps than you probably want to do, but since answers, let me double check. Since answers are given, and they are, you need to show this step right here. If you don't want to draw these lines and things, that's fine, but I need to know that you know you're multiplying these two, and then you're multiplying the 4 and the 3, okay? So let's do another one. Let's do, and this goes, now remember I talked about W minus 5. Your signs are important. So for this example, you're going to see the signs are really important. Now we have a -3 and we're multiplying it by what's inside, which is a W minus 5. Now remember, the minus 5, you think of like a -5. And then the sign in front of the 3 is a negative. Let's see, do we have any? Yes, we do. Okay. So we're going to be multiplying -3 times W. So -3. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch up from a little multiplication, little dots. I'm going to put parentheses. When you start getting the negatives, you'll see why it gets kind of crazy. So -3 times W. Now the sign you want to put here, it's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and put that minus. Okay, and then I'm going to put the minus from the 3. -3 times this right here, -5. So the -3, if you look, it's right there. Over here on this problem, I had a 4, so I rewrote the 4. And then what I put in parentheses are each term. There's a W, which is right here, and the -5 there. So it's almost kind of like a pattern or a formula, if you will, that you kind of set it up as. Your first term, the term that's outside, is -3. You put that there. And then the terms on the inside, you put them in the little multiplication parentheses. Then we just kind of do the math. What is -3 times W? -3W. -3 times a -5. Same signs, positive. So it's a positive 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, so the signs are where it's going to kind of get you, so you need to think of it. -3 times -5 is a positive 15. Again, this is the work I need to see here, kind of showing me that what you're multiplying. I don't want just a final answer. Final answers aren't going to get you the credit because I give you the final answers. I need to see the work in between, this step right here. Let's do another one. Let's see. Let's go with -4, 5 minus 3x. Okay, so this one here. We have a -4 and we're multiplying it by 5 minus 3x. Again, your variables are not always going to be like the first term inside of this little expression. Like it has been up here, it was the first term. They didn't even have coefficients. This one has a coefficient and it's the second term inside the expression. I'm hoping the sentence I just said makes sense to you throughout throughout all my videos and the summer videos and things. You're understanding what I mean when I say expression and coefficients and terms like that. Hopefully we're getting kind of on the same page. All right, so we're still going to multiply -4 times +5, and we're going to write that -4 times +5. Now we're going to write the -4, right? -4 times -3x. Again, it's kind of like a continued pattern. You take the first term, which we're multiplying, and you're going to multiply it by a term inside the expression. Take your first term, -4, multiply by the next term in the expression, -3x. Now we just multiply. What is -4 times 5? Hopefully at this point, we should be able to know, okay, it's going to be a -20. If you have to hesitate and think of the rules we talked about, different signs negative, that's fine. But as long as you're getting the proper answer, -20, if it's taking you a second, that's fine. We'll get it. We still got time to kind of work on this stuff. -4 times a -3x. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. You're just going to multiply your coefficients. What's -4 times -3? Well, we know that when it's same signs, it's positive. A -4 times a -3 is a +12, and you just bring your x. Okay? Up here, -3 times w, you just put them together, it's -3w. Your 4 and your x just comes together, it's just a 4x. So you're just going to multiply your coefficients and bring your x. So the negatives become a positive, which actually becomes an addition sign. And I know you don't have to switch this around. I believe your answer key will move them around. No, actually, I don't think it will. But your variable doesn't have to be the first term. You can leave it like this in the answer. All right? Let's see. Let's do another one. I'll probably do one more, and then you guys do some examples, and then that will be it. And then we'll get back into solving equations on the next video. Let's see. Let's do -10 times -5r plus 7. Okay, this one here. So again, we're going to be multiplying. When you have a number and then you have a parentheses with an expression or something in between, that means you're multiplying this number by everything on the inside. The only way to multiply by everything on the inside is to distribute it. So we're going to distribute this -10 to both of them. To write the work, I'll put it in blue. The work that needs to be seen is -10 times your first term, -5r. Then you're going to have -10 times your second term, which is just a 7. Okay? Now this -10 actually does kind of serve as a subtraction sign for now, but when we do the multiplication, you'll see in the final answer it'll still be a subtraction sign. Even though it was a negative, but it becomes, when it gets put into the expression like this, the negative becomes a subtraction. That's what happened here. You had a negative down here. Negative times a negative gave us a positive, so it actually became a plus in the end. So -10 times a -5, +50, right? We have the same sign, so it's positive. Bring your variable. -10 times a +7. We have different signs are negative. So this is a -50r minus 70. All right, let's do one. Let's have you do one here. Let's see. All right, we're gonna start out not too difficult. This one here, this is 5 times the expression 3x minus 5. I want you guys to work on that, see what you get. Go ahead. All right, hopefully you guys worked it out this way. We're going to distribute the 5, so we're multiplying the 5 to both parts of this expression. So it's 5 times the first term, and then 5 is positive. So you really need to put a plus 5 there, times the second term, negative 5. All right? 5 times 3 gives us 15, and then your x brings your x. Positive 5 times negative 5. Different signs negative. So you should get negative 25, or a minus 25. So 15x minus 25. Let's do one more. Let's do one more. I'll put this one down here in blue. So we're going to do a negative 5 times the expression 7 minus 3r. Okay, I think I used an r up there. We'll use an r again. All right, so this one here, I want you guys to work this one out and see what you get. All right, so we are distributing the negative 5 into both parts of the expression. Now these expressions only have 2 parts. You could have expressions that have 3, 4, 5 different terms inside the expression, but right now, just kind of introducing into the next lesson, we're only going to have the 2 terms inside the expression. All right, so negative 5 times 7, and then negative 5 times the second term, which is a negative 3r. Don't forget the negative on your 3r, okay? Now we're going to multiply. We have negative 5 times 7 gives us negative 35. Negative 5 times negative 3, same sign's positive, gives us a 15r. And that's it there. So again, keep in mind, I need to see this first step, okay? If you don't want to write it and draw the little lines and things showing that you're distributing, that's fine. You don't have to do that. But this step right here, right above my final answers, I need to see those. All right, let me know if you have questions. Hope that makes sense. This is important to know for the next one because the first step on the next lesson will be distributing. So make sure we get this and understand this before we move on. Thank you, and I'll see you in my video soon.